Hey everyone, Dave with the Spillproof podcast. Just want to let you know we are still going to be posting our podcast episodes up on our YouTube channel, but we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. Instead of putting the full episode on there, what we're going to do is put small snippets of it, maybe some of the highlights, things like that. And then if you like what you heard, you can check us out where our podcast can be found. So right now, our podcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. So if you like what you heard, check us out, Spillproof Podcast. You can write to us at spillproofpodcast@gmail.com. We love to hear your feedback or throw some stuff in the comments. Thanks, and thanks for listening. Speaking of pumpkins, we actually didn't carve pumpkins this year. That was a new thing.
We didn't. We've always carved pumpkins, even when we dated. Those are like the year we were dating for Halloween. We carved very elaborate pumpkins. They were really good.
Once watermelons, I think, right?
Yes, we did.
Not for Halloween,
not just for fun.
In the summer, if you want to carve but you have no pumpkins, just do a watermelon.
Exactly. It's the same fun. But watermelons, yeah.
Yeah, and you get to eat a watermelon.
There you go. I know Dave hates watermelon. But yeah, Owen was pretty adamant that we not carve pumpkins, which I was like a little bummed about, but he really didn't want to carve them.
I think what happened was he didn't want to hurt the pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
And cutting it up and doing all that stuff, I think it damaged the pumpkin. I don't know. So we ended up painting them instead.
Yeah.
And it was the most stressful thing we've ever done in the house. I would have rather given them pumpkin cutting knives, those little doll ones.
And then go to town, yeah.
And then do this paint because it was horrifically stressful.
Finger paint. It's from a finger painting set.
Paint. It was the Crayola finger paint.
So it's non-toxic, but he's 2 going on 3, she's 1. They're not clean. They're not
white
careful.
Cabinets, white floors.
Yeah.
Light carpet.
So we had Owen go first. We had, stuff down. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put this on your hands. You rub it on your hands and then you can make handprints on the pumpkins. I thought it was going to be like a pumpkin covered in really cute little handprints. No, they just mashed it all over.
Mm-hmm. It looked like a dirty pumpkin at the end.
Yeah, it was like brown paint by the end. So
I thought we were going to paint faces on it and do this, but it was
no, the second I think we did green paint first and he just mashed it all over. I was like, this is not going to go how I envisioned it all, but let's roll with it. So we did green, blue, red, and yellow. And then he had to go through all the colors again. And then I was like, all right, we're good. And then I immediately brought him to the bathroom and he was pretty good about washing his hands. He stuck his hand in his mouth once. And I was like, that doesn't taste good, does it? And he was like, nope, get it off my tongue. And then Emmy was a little more scary because she's a wild card.
She is crazy.
She is she's such a funny, goofy little kid. But don't make her mad.
She has the most personality I've ever seen in a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
I've never seen a 1-year-old with more personality and quirks as much as she has.
We like to say she's wonderfully weird.
Mm-hmm. She's a little weirdo.
She's a little weirdo, but we love it.
In a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way. It's not like she runs around licking walls and sucking on chair legs.
Which if your kids do that, that's totally cool.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, we just she's quirky, and she lives to the beat of her own drum, rolls to the beat of her own drum, dances to the beat of her own drum. What's the saying?
Drums to the beat of her own drum.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But that saying, insert that saying here.
Can we edit that in?
No, I don't know. Maybe.
If we find it, we can record it separately and then slice
we'll
it
edit
in there.
it in.
And we'll see how good the skills are.
Okay.
It's not going to happen.
It's not. You guys are going to hear just this. Yeah, but she was, I was a little more anxious with her because she had seen what Owen had done, and I think she just wanted to go nuts with it. And then she got paint all over, and she's harder to clean, so because she just won't sit still. But we did it, and we have very odd looking pumpkins with brown paint sitting on the front porch, but
they're perfectly good, and we don't know what to do with them.
We'll smash them.
We could smash them and roll them down the hill, and then see if the deer will eat them.
Oh yeah. I want to like rolling them down the hill. We did have a couple other pumpkins in the house that my mom had gotten for the kids, and we drew faces on them.
Yeah,
so
with permanent marker.
With permanent marker. So you're right. I think like Owen, because we drew faces all over those ones, then Owen was like, we can't hurt these guys.
Yeah.
They're our friends.
Yeah, I think that's where his mind went.
But
it's interesting. So trick-or-treating with a 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. I don't know how I thought it was going to go, but it definitely didn't necessarily go the way I was thinking. Does that make sense?
Went better.
Yeah, so I thought that, we'd, I don't know, do 4 or 5 houses. He'd get tired, she'd freak out, and we would be done. We did significantly more than that. He really got into it, which I was really surprised about. And Emmy was super chill the entire time because she had chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah, there was like no meltdown.
No
meltdown. They were pretty. Owen got a little scared of some people in those like inflatable dinosaur costumes.
He got really afraid of
really, that. Really afraid of that.
Really afraid of
and
that.
And it just so happens that one of the kids in our group that we were trick-or-treating with was dressed as that. So like a big group of the dinosaurs came through as we were kind of like...
Big green dinosaurs.
Yeah, like hanging out and having some food with neighbors before we started trick-or-treating. And then our neighbors that we ultimately went trick-or-treating with started walking to the group, and we were like, oh, man. So we immediately started telling Owen, like, it's just a costume. Like, you're wearing a costume. Your friend's inside.
Well, and I think we've said this before, and maybe this is a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old kind of thing. He really needs to be prepared for what's going to happen. I mean, for those of you who have toddlers out there, when you talk to a toddler, 20% of what you say probably makes it into their brain. And they remember it. The rest of it just is like in one ear, out the other, or they might take a little bit of it away, but like most of it just, it's going to be forgotten in the next 5 minutes. We didn't necessarily do that with him this time around.
Yeah.
We sometimes forget that that's a thing to kind of prepare him. Every time we end up doing that, it does end up biting us in the butt, for sure.
Yeah.
And, there was a house that was super, super into it. Hilarious and really nice. The way they did the decorations and like a little graveyard and stuff like that. And it was nothing overly scary. It's just the blow-ups and tombstones and things like that. But it freaked him out. And these dinosaurs freaked him out. And, we never talked to him about, what he was going to see. What this was going to be like.
You're going to see a lot of people in different costumes.
All that we talked to him about is, hey, we're going to go see a bunch of houses, and they're going to give us candy when you say trick or treat. We didn't prepare him for any of that. And honestly, and I don't know if it's manipulation or if it's just being prepared or just working through, toddler issues. But if that's done, if some kind of path is like set, expectations, then things tend to go very smoothly. I mean, toddlers need to be almost reminded every 2 to 5 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, we'll call it, of what's going to happen at the end. Taking, for an example, bedtime tonight, we were reading through those little square mini books, and at the end of every book and in the middle of every book, and the book's only like 4 pages long, I reminded Owen, after this we're going to bed. After this we're going to bed. And he still manipulated in some way that we had to read a book that has these little flaps in it.
Yeah.
But again, in that, I kept reminding every single page, after this, we're going to bed. And we did. We were able to get there, which was a lot less painless than it has been in the last couple of nights, because he is the king of delaying going to bed.
Yeah, he's always been like pretty good about bedtime, but the last couple weeks he just he'll try to like distract us or be like, oh, okay, but I also like want to read this book. And like we read a lot of books to him before bed, like a lot. But he'll be like, oh, just this one more time. And he's like, oh, I really have to play with this now. Or actually, let's go back downstairs. I'm hungry. I'm so hungry. I'm thirsty. So he's very good at delaying. And when was it? A couple nights ago, he really wanted something out of his closet, but it was really just time for bed. He had already stayed up past his bedtime. And so we kind of had to like force him to go to bed, which is never good with him because he has to accept it and be ready to be put down. Like normally he tells Dave, like I give him a hug, Dave gives him a hug, and then he tells Dave to like lay him in his bed. So like this night we had to like walk out and let him like whine a little bit. And then we did go back in and kind of repeat our bedtime routine with him, and then he was good.
Yeah, because you made a good point that night that he actually was sad that he didn't get his bedtime routine. And at a certain point he realized that we weren't going to give into it, and then he just wanted his bedtime routine. Yeah. Because he's a creature of habit.
Yeah. So he was like sad in his bed, and we could hear him on the monitor like, I want mommy and daddy. And he wanted us to literally come in so we could do a nice bedtime routine, instead of the, okay, well, we have to, like, it's bedtime. We have to go to bed. So we're going to lay you down. And then he was like, it wasn't his normal bedtime pathway. So he was not having it. But, yeah, you're right. We did not really prepare him for what he was going to see and for what was going to happen apart from we're going to go ring the doorbell. We're going to say trick or treat, and you're going to get candy. You're going to say thank you.
And, I think as parents or as adults, it's easy to forget that kind of stuff. Kids' brains are still developing, and the way that they perceive, what's going on around them is completely different than the way we perceive it, because we've got years of experience, where he has, he's almost 3, but he probably has only retained the last year and a half of knowledge what he's experienced. So, everything is a little bit rougher for him, or, it's a little more vague. It's just, there's a lot less information he has going into something new. So, when he saw, he loves dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are great. He's a little boy. They love dinosaurs. But when he saw those dinosaurs walking, and they're, they don't even look real. They're just blow up dinosaurs. But they're tall. Not to us, but to him, they're like 3 of them. It freaked him out. They were 4 houses down the street, and he was freaking out about it. Like he was starting to kind of hide behind us.
He asked to like go behind the house because he didn't even want to see it. Because we were in our neighbor's driveway, and he was like, let's go behind the house. I was like, oh, buddy. But yeah, if you think about it, like we all know what Halloween is, right? Just because we've done it so many times, but
35 years of it.
Yeah, like he doesn't know what Halloween is. They were like, what it's for, or, like any of that stuff. And so I think it was initially a little bit overwhelming for him, but then he settled in, and like he rolled with the punches. And like Dave said, we thought it was going to be like 3-4 houses, and he was going to be like, I don't like this. Let's go home.
Thanks for listening to the Spillproof podcast. As always, reach out to us at spillproofpodcast@gmail.com.
We'd love to hear from you all, and we can't wait to talk with you next time.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.